Good morning. Cynthia Wong from Airbnb. Thank you for your continued work on this issue. We do want to comment today on the proposed revisions to the policy. They're deeply troubling to Airbnb because we believe that they create major barriers to entry, and similar approaches elsewhere have resulted in low compliance. Under these new rules, if somebody wanted to share their home, even for a weekend, they would be required to obtain multiple licenses. As we've shared before, over 50% of our hosts in Seattle host for less than 30 days a year. So that would be a real step backward for the occasional home sharer. Secondly, we believe a ban on all secondary homeowners going forward is overly restrictive. There are many homeowners in Seattle that live here for part of the year, and that housing would not otherwise be on the long-term market. It arbitrarily hurts second homeowners and those who haven't registered before June 1st. There are other ways to protect housing stock, and we're committed to working with Seattle on that. Another speaker.
Thank you. Sorry. Thanks.
Good morning, members. Lauren Kimsey on behalf of the Internet Association. We are a nonprofit trade association representing the world's leading internet companies and their billions of online users. Unfortunately, we are concerned about the data sharing provisions that have been proposed in the regulation. We believe that forcing multinational companies to provide personal information about their users will result in an inherent invasion of privacy. Also, establishing a broad and recurring data share mandate undermines the consumer's reasonable expectation that their information isn't going to be summarily turned over to any type of government agency or law enforcement. We believe that if such rules are to be applied to companies like Airbnb and HomeAway, why not require their businesses to generate reports as well? For example, why not require GPS geolocation companies to report whenever a driver goes over the speed limit? In short, a government policy that is reliant on data sharing for local enforcement is not the right approach. We stand willing and ready to work with you guys as you guys work on moving forward. Thank you.
Cannelly and Melissa Dent.
I'm Kate McFarland with Echo Northwest, and I'm here to briefly address the data that HomeAway commissioned us to analyze. We analyzed data provided by HomeAway and find it unlikely that these rentals are negatively impacting affordability in Seattle. Fewer than 500 HomeAway properties were rented between April 2015 and April 2016. This represents less than 0.2% of the existing Seattle housing stock. Additionally, few HomeAway properties generate sufficient short-term rental income to justify shifting away from the long-term rental market for pure economic reasons. HomeAway rentals appear to be a short-term solution for most hosts. Less than half of all properties rented on HomeAway are still rented on the site 3 years later. Almost all HomeAway properties are located in areas of the city that are adding housing supply. This represents a net addition of housing units, even in the presence of rising demand. I have copies of the report for all council members and welcome questions now or in the future about the data and findings.
Thank you, and we received your report yesterday. Thanks, and we got your report yesterday when you sent that in.
I'm Joy Langley with Expedia. Thank you for the opportunity to address some misconceptions regarding our company, our inventory, and our hosts, and we look forward to working with you. Short-term rentals are a meaningful and important part of the housing mix in Seattle, albeit a small one. The data we go Northwest mentioned shows that our 2015-2016 properties rented were less than 1% of the city's total housing stock. Despite this small percentage, and as you heard in the last council meeting on this topic, our owners and managers use the income generated from this housing to make their ends meet. We're inspired by their stories of bankruptcy avoided and foreclosure forestalled, and of the many scrappy micro-entrepreneurs created during the busts in our boom and bust economy to keep their families living in Seattle, a city that they love, that we love. These stories are real, and over-regulating this market will do more harm than good. As a Seattle area-based company with thousands of employees living and working in the area, we're sensitive to the issue of housing affordability. To that end, we want to commit to being part of a broader conversation about housing affordability and to work with the city for a meaningful discussion on this issue. This ordinance, in its most recent iteration, will not have the meaningful impact the city believes it will. Please consider us an ally.
Thanks. Thank you. And we are grateful
Hi.
that you're moving to Seattle. So.